Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
Hey y'all, and welcome to Straight Up with MS and all its crazy little circles here on MS&Me Radio, brought to you by the MS Global Support Network. I'm your host, Patty Long, and you can find me on Twitter at MSNit for Life, and I spell that MSENIT, the number 4 LIFE. I would love for you to come and join my MS family, and that's the hashtag we use. It's all one together, MS family, and say hey and talk junk or talk about an issue or just whatever, because we do both on there. Sometimes we're just supporting each other because we're having a rough day. And sometimes we're applauding each other because we're having a great day. And sometimes we're just being silly, and silliness is amazing. I love it. And even Dr. B has gotten in on the silly act, and his personality is really coming through in his videos now that he does. He's gotten comfortable and he's himself, and he's making things funnier and funnier. So if you're not already following him on YouTube, please do look up Aaron Boster MD, and he spells that AARON BOSTER MD, because he is a doctor, and he's online helping all of us to learn more and more about MS and about all the things that we should know. And he started the channel to help the patients that he saw, but it has grown, and it's this global community on YouTube that gets together, and he talks to people and answers questions, and he does some live stuff, calls it Ask Me Now. And he's just an amazing guy. So I could go on about him for the whole 30 minutes, but I won't. But I am going to talk to you guys about something in particular, because I'm wondering how many people have heard the term used, neurological reserve. And do you understand what a neurological reserve is? And that's a really good question, and I've gotten different responses from different doctors about our neurological reserve. And that is why I consider neurology still a new field, because they don't particularly know. They don't know for sure about many of these things, but they know it exists. And they know that neurological reserve is a person's ability. Listen to this now, listen close. It's your ability to form all those new connections so that you can think, walk, run, whatever it is that you might not be able to do today, but would like to be able to do again. And neurological reserve is just the coolest thing ever. And if you go and on Dr. B's YouTube and search for something about the leaky pool, because I don't remember the name of the video, and when the show posts on YouTube, this show posts on YouTube on Monday, I will put a link to the video in the comment section of it where I post my videos. And I will try and do that as well in the comment section for this YouTube video, which is not really a video, but the YouTube podcast. You guys know what I'm saying. So anyways, the leaky pool is another way of looking at how MS acts and what happens to us. And it's like you've got this big swimming pool with its deep end and its low end. And the low end would be like your optic nerves, your spinal cord, and these small little areas throughout your central nervous system. Your brain itself, there's a lot of space in there. So that would be your deep end, and these other narrow places where there's not a lot of room to go around them, that would be your shallow end. Okay, so now we've got the pool laid out, and we know where our brain is and where our spine is, and I put our optic nerves in there with it. We have these lesions, right? So where do they go in our pool? Okay, well, they form, in this scenario, they form stalagmites, which is coming from the bottom of the pool straight up. And the stalagmites, if they're not above the level of the water, then we don't have any kind of symptom or anything from it. We have no clue that it is there. It's there, but we don't know about it. And there's no way for us to know about it without seeing it on an MRI. And if they saw it on an MRI, some docs would say, well, it's not bothering you. Okay. Right. Yeah. Let's not worry about it because it's not bothering me. Let's not up the ante on my DMT because it's not bothering me yet. Jeez. So anyways, we don't want it to bother us. And what we want is our water level in our pool to stay above them, right? And so as the water drains, you may have more and more that had been underwater that pop to the surface. So your neurological reserve is like that water that's still left in the pool. Now here's where it's tricky, because on one hand you've got the group saying that you cannot really replenish your neurological reserve. And then we got the other group that says, I think we can. And I, of course, am in the group that says, I think we can. And I will shout it from the rooftops. We can, we can, we can. Why? Because I'm doing it, y'all. My pool drained really rapidly. And I had a gazillion stalagmites in there. Did I say that right? Stalagmites. The ones that come from the bottom and go up. But I had a zillion of them in there. And maybe it's not really a zillion, but it might as well have been. Especially after the first 2 years, I was so far down at the bottom that my pool was near empty. I mean, it must have been. It had to have been. I could not really walk. I used furniture. I used my dog. I used the floor a lot. Not for my feet either. Well, kind of, but not really. You know, kind of as a launch pad. And I really think of that time as being much like a toddler who is constantly falling down and trying to stand up and walk. And I really, really do. So anyways, my legs were gone. My arms were gone. My core at one point was completely gone, which makes me think that the old-timey cartoons where you got a cartoon character sliding down a wall or across the furniture came from as an idea because somebody knew somebody really well who had MS. And back then, they would have had no clue what to do, and there was no treatment for it. So I think the no core thing and how similar it is amusing in the way that I feel like these people that first started that, whoever it was, because I don't know which cartoon came first, but started the cartoon character sliding, I bet you they knew somebody with MS really, really well. Because that's exactly what I look like. And when it happened in public, it was not fun at all. And, but yeah, I was not embarrassed by it. I didn't do anything wrong. And I remember being asked once, only once, all the times I slid out of a chair, I only had one person ask if I was okay and what had happened. And I guess the rest of them just thought I was drunk because I was up at a pool hall, a bar, you know, with pool tables. Where, for me, it's a pool hall because I don't drink. And I did drink, but I don't. I am now not allowed to have alcohol because of my liver enzymes. You know, that's kind of a no-no for me. Because I don't want them to get the 2 times higher than normal that makes them worrisome. So I don't drink because they're at the high level. They're just not that high. So why chance it, you know? So I don't drink. And I didn't then. And drinking also makes all your MS symptoms go nuts because it slows your central nervous system down. That's what drinking alcohol does. It slows your central nervous system down, which, you know, you think about people being drunk and being handsy or whatever you might want to call it, because it lowers their inhibitions. And if you think about it, people like MS can probably be talked into a lot of stuff a whole lot easier than the average person. I don't know that having MS really lowers inhibitions, but all the rest of it is the same. You know, we see the person who can't see, we see the person who is walking way out of their way to get somewhere because they're zigzagging and wobbling everywhere. We even see them falling down. So, you know, there are a lot of these similarities. We see them not being able to talk. Their speech is all slurred, or they're just making little mumbling noises and thinking they're actually saying words. So alcohol and MS don't mix at all for me, especially back then, because I was barely functioning. And when I went to these places, all I was doing was sitting in the chair and then using a pull stick as crutches, kind of, or canes, but really tall canes, and hanging on to a table to try and shoot. And I didn't do very well, and I didn't go very often. And then PT came along and changed all that, you know. I mean, it really made a huge, huge difference. So I had this leaky pool with all the water drained out, or nearly all the water drained out. And I started physical therapy. And physical therapy taught me how to move in a certain way. And it trained my body. It trained me. It retrained my brain to work. It retrained the connections to my muscles. It retrained my spine. It has retrained me to where I function and can shoot pool and am winning. I'm winning. I'm even starting to learn to see straight, which is a miracle upon itself, because being able to see straight is something that is incredibly hard for me to do. My eyes go different which ways as far as how I see, and it's all kind of blurry when it gets, a little bit off into the distance, but it doesn't matter for driving because cars are big, right? And so, and I see movement, so I would see a kid or something like that in front of me. But the point is, this has been made possible because I did these exercises. They created muscle memory. They brought me back. They brought a lot of my muscles back. I had a lot of muscle atrophy. And when I had asked my doc if you can overcome muscle atrophy, he didn't answer me. He didn't answer me because they don't know. And he did not want to give me the majority vote, let's call it, as to whether or not you can overcome muscle atrophy, because that would have been a resounding no. And I have. I still have some, but it's so little in comparison to what I had when I started. And this is made possible by building up my cognitive reserve, building up the ability to make these new pathways. And eating correctly helps with that. Now, eating correctly for you may not be the same as for me. I prefer low fat. Actually, I insist on low fat. I prefer fresh fruits and vegetables, but those I can deal with frozen. That'll work if it's off season, and I prefer fresh food over anything else. And it's these choices that we make to keep our brain healthy, to keep our muscles healthy, to retrain ourselves to work. And it's a miracle that you can, because and I think that more and more of us, once we set our minds to being better with MS, and once we change our attitude to, yes, I can improve, even though I've got MS, it doesn't matter, I can improve. Once we get there, we'll take off. And there's no telling how far you'll go. Opportunities are always right around the corner. And my grandfather, he used to ask me all the time, what are you here for? Didn't have anything to do with jobs. At least my answer didn't. My job never came into it. I was here to love people and to laugh and smile and have a good time. And that's the most important things, isn't it? I think so anyways. And the rest is secondary. And to get there, we have to believe in ourselves, believe in our abilities, and believe that we can do things to build the level up of water in our pool, and maybe even crush some of those stalagmites. I know I have. I've got so many lesions that have disappeared. And I know that when it comes time for an autopsy, they may find evidence of 1, 2, 3, 400, I don't know. But it's small amounts. I have rerouted. I have retrained, and I'm not finished yet. I'm constantly needing to train. If I sit on my butt for a long time, I'm going to get, back to where I need to train harder again. So I don't want to sit on my butt without training. And I have exercises for thinking. I have a Bop It game. Those are so cool. If you've never played one, pick one up. They are so cool. But they're great for your attention span and your focus. And it's really helped me a lot to play that silly little game. And then there's the games on my phone that are more logical that I play. And you have to defeat it by figuring it out. And those help you with your decision making, and they help you with your memory of and planning and all of that kind of thing. And then there's the word games, which for me are simple word searches for the most part that I play. And it helps me with that memory recall of a word, so I forget less words. I'd love it if they'd make one with medical terminology, because most of the medical terminology I just don't even bother with. I can't say half of it, I get mixed up. How do you pronounce this again? And it's because I don't hear it spoken very much, I see it in writing only. So, who knows? But I am getting better. My brain is getting better. I'm thinking better. I'm making decisions better. And that's evident, that I'm making decisions better. And that I'm able to do so many things. I'm able to follow instructions for a simple recipe, which I wasn't able to do for like 6 years. Well, yeah, 6 years. Because it'll be 7 years come this June. So, believe that you can and do it. Make it happen. And there's all kinds of ways that you can retrain your brain, your muscles, and tell me what your problem is, and I'll be glad to try and point you in the right direction for correcting it, because there are things you can do if you want to. And I say that because I know some people don't really want to. Some people say, well, I accepted this a long time ago. And then just did, and they're perfectly happy that way. And then there's other people who haven't said, I don't care. And I don't mean to be rude here, because I'm trying to pick the right words, and I'm not, because either way, whichever choice you make the one that's right for you, so that you can be happy, so that you can have laughter, so that you can have love, so that you can have a life that you really, really like and enjoy. And I mean, despite the stories that I told you last week, and y'all, when I told y'all those stories, I hope you didn't take them wrong, because these things do not bother me. So don't feel sorry for me. I have a great life. I love my life. My life might be separate from my hubby's, but I love my life. And we have that choice to love our life and to love ourselves. It's a choice. And we have a choice to ignore everything else that would be crap. You know, we have a choice to decide how we're going to react to something somebody else says. And we have a choice of how to react to what somebody else does. So remember that. And also, nobody has a clue what's going to happen in their future. Not a soul. And I don't get the whole planning thing for your future the way it is today. I mean, planning for your future has become like a theme somehow. And less people are just going with the flow of life. But when you quit trying to plan everything and go with the flow, oh my gosh, it's a wonderful place to be. And it's a fun place. And, you know, I have my happy bubble. And I stay in my happy bubble 90% of the time. Maybe even higher than that, because I've never tracked it. But when I go out of my happy bubble, when something forces me out of my happy bubble, it is difficult to get back. And sometimes it can take a week or two for me to get back. But it's a week or two, not a year, not 2 years, not forever. So find your happy bubble, stay there, believe, truly believe in yourself that you can improve and that you can fill that pool, that neurological reserve, and you can keep improving despite where your lesions are, because you can fill your pool just the same as I have. So till next time, y'all, because my time is up, of course. Y'all smile big, smile often, laugh a whole lot, and most importantly, love yourself, including your wacky, messed up parts. Thanks, y'all. Bye.